Now, I would hardly say Arsenal have started the season with fireworks and sprinklers and like a house on fire and things like that. I think there's reasons to be optimistic and reasons to be nervous and reasons to be cautious. As I said, if you're excited about the season and what you've seen by Arsenal so far, who am I to tell you anything? The beautiful thing about football is it's diverse in opinions. We can all watch the same 90-minute game and see differently. If you're nervous or anxious or unclear as to the direction we're going, if we're truly ready to mount a sustained title challenge and prove that last season wasn't a fluke, who am I to tell you anything? And equally, people, if you don't have a clue and you're filled with indifferentness and you can't really describe what's going on and you find yourself doing the numerous calculations and the ifs, buts, and maybes, if we did this on the field, if we did that in the transfer market, who am I to tell you anything? I know it's a shorter month than usual, and obviously there'll be a lot more football in the months to follow. But currently, towards the end of August, we find ourselves fifth on 7 points, 2 wins, and a draw, people. So, yeah, I guess this is almost an August review, people, just my August review points. As you know, we kicked off the season winning 2-1 against Nottingham Forest, once again conceding a late goal, which is unfortunate. I think our best performance to date, excluding the Community Shield final, has to be against Palace, where for half an hour he's down to 10 men. And obviously, on the topic of us being given a red card or 2 yellows in Tomiyasu's case, that actually ended a run of 41 Premier League games without a red card, which shows the improvement, because a red card was a sure banker for Arsenal once upon a time, folks. Again, it depends how you look at it. If you look at the Fulham game as a point gained or 2 points dropped, who am I to tell you? Considering they went down to 10 men in the last 10 minutes and we conceded 3 minutes from time from a set piece, is very disappointing. It does show fight, but it's upsetting. Shout out to Bukayo Saka, because he's played in 83 consecutive Premier League games for Arsenal, with the latest being Fulham, and he got a goal to match up and actually made up for his mistake in the opening goal in the first minute. Big up Fabio Vieira for another impressive cameo. He's dropped 2 of those this month against Fulham and Manchester City, respectively. We'll touch on him as the video progresses. Don't forget to smash the like button. Clearly, we struggle to defend. We're an improved defensive side. We're not necessarily a good one. We have kept 2 clean sheets in our last 13 Premier League matches at the Emirates, which dates back to last season. I personally don't know why we're better defensively away from home than at home, but who knows? We're actually the first team in Premier League history to concede in the first minute 3 times in a single calendar year, which is odd, but that tells you we need to focus. We have kept just 4 clean sheets from 21 Premier League games at the Emirates since the start of last season. Of the 17 teams to participate in the competition in each of the last 2 seasons, we're not in good company there. We did become, the 3rd Premier League team to keep 200 away clean sheets. And like, as I said, I don't know what it is. It's like 2 different teams turn up when we travel away to other grounds versus at the Emirates. I don't know if it's complacency and all of these things, but who knows? Mikel Arteta finds himself with a lot of decisions to make. And again, he's got a lot of calculations to do. How do we navigate the Premier League and get closer to City? How do we deal with the numerous cup competitions? How do we improve and enhance the existing players and the new ones, really? And I think, although it's only 3 games, 4 on Sunday into the season, there are a lot of early questions. The first one for me would be Gabriel. Now, I hear what Mikel Arteta is saying about tactically and all of these things, but he was one of the first names on the team sheet, and surely he has to play against Man United. Surely he has to be reintegrated. I know Mikel Arteta in his press conferences has hardly given anything away on anything, really. He said Tini's part of his plans, then he's gone on loan. He's not really giving anything away with Gabriel. I mean, if this is the system you want to deploy, I don't think Mikel Arteta is going to go out there and play a system he doesn't believe in and make it harder for us to get 3 points. But who knows? The next one would evidently be Kai Havertz. Now, I do think Havertz is to a degree scapegoated, but for me personally, Fulham was the first game where he looked a bit nervous, didn't look really confident, didn't really grab the game by the balls, really and truly, like you saw Fabio Vieira with his own cameo. I hear it with, the fouls and the aerial duels and the chances created in the duels and all of these things, but with a football, you want a lot more from Havertz. And I think when you look at the Fulham post-game press conference from Mikel Arteta, I don't quite think he criticized Kai Havertz, but I think it was the first one he was kind of blunt in that he kind of demands a bit more and expects a bit more. He's going to play him. He signed him for big money. He needs to find a system. But you do wonder, when will Fabio Vieira get a chance potentially? When will Smith Rowe get a chance potentially? Really and truly. when would Jorginho get a chance, really? Because you'd imagine Jorginho could thrive in the system, even though we know he's a squad player. Will he revert back to Partey, Odegaard, and Declan Rice as opposed to Odegaard, Havertz, and Declan Rice? At the end of the day, Arteta spent big money on Havertz. He has to find a system, and he's going to play him. But at some point, he might have to try something new if it doesn't change, really. And again, you do find yourself wondering, really and truly, what is going on. And there's a lot of question marks, really, even though I think it shows how good we are in that we've got 7 points from 9 and fans aren't necessarily downbeat, but they're not excited. And I do find myself wondering, people, in August, are we actually stronger in terms of squad depth than last season? I believe with the additions of, on paper, Timber, Rice and Havertz, I believe, yes, Raya the same. But as we know, Timber isn't going to be available for the majority of the season. And then I wonder, are we really stronger? Really and truly, are we? Because I think yes, but then I think no, because we ain't got a right winger to compete with Saka. Maybe you could have brought in a striker. I think we need a central midfielder. Again, with it being deadline day at the time of making this vid, do we move for another defender? I don't necessarily believe we are, in fact, stronger. But then again, if players can stand up to be counted and things, then I'll look at this differently. But this is just how I feel in August. Don't forget to let me know your thoughts as well throughout the video, folks. I do think you have to give special mentions to a couple. I think Eddie Nketiah, early doors, has been our player of the season so far in these 3 games. I think he's done really well. Say what you want about him, he deserves to get called up for England, as you've seen. I think he's done very well and he's getting the goals to match. The only thing kind of missing from Eddie Nketiah is that composure in front of goal and being a consistent goal scorer. And I like his mentality. I like how he takes everything in his stride. I like how, obviously, he's human. He will be disappointed if you're not playing or if you've been dropped, especially when you're playing well. But he gets up and he shows the manager why he should be playing, really and truly. I'd also shout out Fabio Vieira because he made 2 good cameos this month. I think Declan Rice against Crystal Palace needs a hail up as well. Shout out to Saliba and White. So yeah, we finished August relatively okay. On a sour note, 2 points dropped against Fulham. And as you know, we've got Man United, Everton, Spurs, Brentford in the Cup, and Bournemouth to come in September, and it's only going to get worse from there, really. As you know, we've been drawn our Champions League groups. If you don't know, Arsenal, Sevilla, Lens, and I believe, again, I can't actually remember the third team, people. I believe it's Lens, Sevilla, Arsenal, obviously, and PSV Eindhoven, people. So on the face of it, we should be going through in that group. But again, Lens finished second last year in Liga. Sevilla won the Europa League, and that's not going to be an easy game. PSV beat us in the group stages. So we're going to need to stand up to be counted early doors in this season, folks. So with that being said, folks, again, August was a short one. Again, August has ended all right for us, I believe. 7 points from 9, in my opinion, is not necessarily the worst. I would say, it could be worse. It could be better. I look at the Fulham game and I can say our mentality's changed because in previous years, we would have lost. But what I would say, I would also flip that coin and say that's a concern for me, really and truly, because nobody's going to give you easy points. If we are trying to prove that last season was not a fluke and we're trying to pip City, everyone's going to drop points, but we near enough have to be perfect. There is a saying that you can't lose the league you can't win the league in August, but you can definitely lose it in. City are 9 times out of 10 perfect. It's almost unfair for any team that aspires to win the league. So especially, when you've got your hand on 2 points, 3 points, an extra 2 after coming back from behind, you need to see it through to the end, especially when a team's gone down to 10 men less than 10 minutes before the end of the game, apologies, and to lose it 3 minutes before 90 minutes is up from a set piece. It is an Achilles heel. Again, it's early in the season. As I said, during preseason, I'm not expecting us to take what we're good at and make it great in a matter of weeks. Neither do I expect to take all the bad habits from us and eradicate it in a matter of weeks or earlier in the season. Old habits die hard. It takes an eternity to promote good habits. But I do think this season, early doors, and it's only 3 games deep with the luxury of playing Man United on Sunday. Hopefully we can, do what we need to do in that regards. I would say the concerns are we're still a bit naive. You've seen against Nottingham Forest, which was one-way traffic. We, again, matter of fact, Nottingham Forest and actually Fulham, we've conceded goals late in the game where listen, mistakes happen, losing the ball on the transition, set pieces. This is the belly of the beast, but we need to eradicate it and be mentioned as one of the best defensive teams in the league, regardless of what a statistic says. When you speak about the strengths of Arsenal, you don't mention defensive aspects, really. We've improved from what we used to be a few seasons ago. That's irrelevant. If we're looking at the last 2 or so years, 3 years when we finished 5th, we need to take it from being a relatively good defensive side to an incredibly good defensive side, because that's what wins titles. So I'd say the concerns for me are clearly set pieces, the level of focus, the transition, we still have these bad habits in our game, because while we let ourselves down all individually from that set piece, the ball was given away by Zinchenko needlessly. I'm not blaming him. I'm just highlighting things. I actually feel, we, for the chances we've got on paper, even though I think we can create and put keepers under pressure a bit more, which I don't think we've necessarily done in the 3 games, we could be a lot more clinical. So I think that just everything in terms of game management is a concern for me. I would say we could score a bit more goals. I still think there's a bit of growing pains collectively and individually in this new look system Mikel Arteta is deploying at this moment in time. Again, I don't think we've scored enough. I don't think there's enough clear-cut created chances, but it could be better. It could be worse. We've got 7 points from 9 at the end of the day. I think some players are standing up to be counted. I think Rice looks quite good. I think Eddie Nketiah is showing his form. I would like a bit more clean sheets. I don't know I don't know what it is with us, but the way we played with 10 men in that last half an hour of the Crystal Palace game and watching the game twice, actually controlling the game, I want to see that at home. At home, we need to be boring. I don't want Arsenal to be entertaining for the fans or actually neutrals, really. We need to have less of the Man United games from last season, the Aston Villa away last season, the Bournemouth games, and make it boring. And I don't know why our focus, our sharpness, our want to defend, our application across 90 minutes is just a bit more crisper away from home than at the Emirates. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's to do with complacency. I don't know if it's nervousness. I can't imagine there's no way you can be nervous at the Emirates and not nervous away from home, really. So I'm not really too sure as to what's gone on there. I do find myself wondering and pondering, are we stronger than we were last season? And what I mean by that is the new signings. Now, new signings are not everything. How we improve on the training ground, our level of consistency, how we improve the things we're bad at is what's going to make the difference regardless of who signed. Obviously, Timber's injuries thrown a spanner in the works. Raya provides good competition / a good option if Ramsdale isn't there. Declan Rice has been a hit. Timber, unfortunately, he's injured. He's been a hit. He's been a hit. The jury's out on Havertz. I think the Fulham game is the only game I wanted a bit more. I think he did well in the Community Shield, minus scoring. I think he did well in the games prior, but fair enough. Arteta wanted you. I'll back the gaffer. I'll have my opinions on Havertz, but I'll back the gaffer. I'm not too sure if we're stronger there, really. I do think we're stronger in our defensive options, but Tierney's gone now. Timber's injured. Tomiyasu and Zinchenko are susceptible to pick up knocks. Again, injuries can strike to anyone at any time. We saw the drop-off when Saliba was there. I do think we're relatively okay defensively, but I would like another body in midfield. I guess Mikel Arteta is banking on the Smith-Rowes, the Fabio Vieiras, the organic midfield trio of Odegaard, Partey and Rice, and obviously the Project Havertz. But I personally would have liked one more midfielder. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to bring in a winger that can compete / provide an alternative for Bukayo Saka. And I don't think we was ever going to sign a striker, but an old school striker wouldn't go amiss. So while I think Rice especially and Timber especially and Raya, even though he ain't kicked a ball for Arsenal, have improved our squad, then I hope Havertz can be mentioned in that ilk. I believe we're stronger than last season, but I don't necessarily feel it. Feels like we're a bit sideways, really. So yeah, as I said, what we do on the training ground and right the wrongs from last season is equally more important to bringing in whoever. You could bring in Messi. If there's not a system in place that gets the best out of the other 10 players, it's a myth. So they're my concerns. In terms of the good things, I think Fabio Vieira, Eddie Nketiah, Benjamin White, Declan Rice, they've looked all right. I do like the fact that Arteta is trying new systems to make us a bit more unpredictable. If you can't win, don't lose. Fair enough. In the middle of the Fulham game, we did control it, but we didn't start or end well. If you can't win, don't lose. While I think it's 2 points drop, we did concede within the first minute. And we did well to snatch a point, really and truly. I do think we coped with Jesus' short-term injury as well. And it's obviously nice to welcome back Zinchenko. So, yeah, man. As I said, the only question marks to leave you with and let me know, how will we react to more games? As we know, we're playing about a game every 3 days, 2 games in 10 days. How will Mikel Arteta, cope with those demands? How will the boys cope with the added fatigue? If there's a must win on the Tuesday, Wednesday, and likewise on the Saturday, Sunday, how will we react? Mikel Arteta, from last season to now, not that there's been much rotation, but it's like there's 2 extremes. Last season, there was more of a settled 11. You kind of knew who would start. This season, I do think on paper, based on what we've seen, that's the case. But it's almost like there's flexibility. Gabriel's come out the side. Partey's playing a different role. Tierney's been marginalised. And there's several other things in that ilk. Kirill looks like he'll feature more prominently. And I back him all the way, really and truly. So I guess these questions can't be answered in 3 games, but hopefully we can start September well against Man United. And on the topic of September, happy new month to you lot, people. First and foremost, I hope it brings you and your family good or improved health. I hope it brings you everything you want in your personal and private lives, people. And again, people, let me know your thoughts on everything we've discussed. What have you made of August? Again, the Champions League has been drawn. We've got PSV, Lens, and Sevilla. We've obviously won the English Super Cup, Community Shield. We've got 7 points from 9. Saka's obviously, you know, been awarded the PFA Young Player of the Year based off last season, and he's been joined by Ramsdale, Odegaard, and Saliba, and making it in the Team of the Year. So yeah, I think there's many things we could do better. I think there's many things that we've done worse. I think there's reasons to be positive, optimistic, or indifferent. But in truth, we won't know the path we're walking down until we see more sustained football. And now it's about to get serious. August was a bit of a short month where football's concerned. September to December now, you've got, you know, the League Cup. There's a fixture or two. You've got the Champions League. Evidently, you've got the Premier League. It's a cope on demands, really and truly, and it's a test for Mikel Arteta and every other player involved. So I guess we'll have to see. Let me know your thoughts on everything we've discussed. Let me know your thoughts on every game that we've played in August and August as a whole. Do you think we're actually stronger than last season? And any other points I've mentioned, people. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, smash the like button, people. All of these things help the algorithm. God bless you all for watching another one of my vids. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're following on all the platforms as well. Links are in the descriptions. God bless you all. One love.